I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. Is that it? Oh, okay. Good morning. My name is Steve Marshall, call sign WW4RX. I'm a member of the Martin County Amateur Radio Operators Group here in Stuart, Florida. We have our headquarters in the EOC building on off Monterey Road. Our primary function is to become available whenever there's primarily in this area a storm-related requirement, a hurricane. The Red Cross opens up shelters and they need a communication source to contact between EOC and the shelters. Then we staff those hurricane shelters. Ham radio, a lot of people think that ham radio is a dying hobby, and quite the contrary, since they removed the Morse code requirement, ham radio numbers have increased dramatically the last few years. As you can see on the slide, there are 3 active classes that we have in the United States: the technician class, the general, and the extra. The numbers are increasing daily. Tests are being given anywhere, almost anywhere in the United States at all times. And the growth of the classes is there's approximately 15 techs a day. From the tech class to the general class, there's approximately 12 a day that are advancing. And then to the extra class, which actually gives you the most access to the amateur radio bands, you can, there are 10 a day. Currently, it's still a male sport, but females are making inroads. There are 15% females. There are several YL clubs, which is mnemonic for young ladies. And just as a matter of fact, I made a contact. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway this weekend is running a special event station for the Brickyard 400. And being from Indiana, I always try and hit that. And I made contact with it, and I think either tonight or tomorrow night, they're having a young ladies only setup. They've got 8 frequencies that they monitor, and everybody tries to make contact with them. And it'll be completely staffed by female ham operators in the Indianapolis area. So it's always a big pile up. I'm not even going to try it because I already made my contact and let the other guys have some fun. Our local county association is Martin County Emergency Communication, ARES RACES. The ARES RACES are 2 separate organizations. The ARES group is under the control of the ARRL, which is the American Radio Relay League, and it's our national organization that is constantly we're trying to upgrade upgrade our advancements. They monitor the legislative pitfalls that can happen when another agency wants to encroach on our frequencies. The RACES group is a little more of a national group. It's under the direction of FEMA now. It used to be a civil defense operation back in the early days. But now it's under FEMA. RACES is Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Service. That's activated more when there's a national disaster. I think the biggest ones, Katrina was a big one. RACES was activated in Texas and Louisiana when the Columbia disaster happened. There was a breakdown in communications. The field was so large that the Columbia landed on that the jurisdictional limits for all the groups that were trying to search the area, their radio signals were only effective in a small area. So the ham operators came in and set up stations, and with our various frequencies that we have available to us, we were able to pretty much blanket the whole area. And if you ever look on the internet for the story about that, it's quite an interesting story. For the first 12 days after the Columbia disaster, pretty much the only communications available was from amateur radio. So we have a lot of fun with this hobby, but we also are very important as when alternative communications are needed. Cell phones are down. The ARRL is our primary organization, and they monitor the events going on in Washington. They promote our public service. They're, like I said, they're watching in the legislature for laws that may affect us, or where we may be able to be upgraded into another government jurisdiction. They provide education. We do the testing locally. They provide most of the textbooks and everything that we use for our classes. Technology, they're always developing new technologies. They instead of just an old tube-type radio, we have available to us many different forms of communication. I'll have a slide on that later. And the membership, we're always trying to increase our membership. There are, like I said, there's about 600,000 amateur radio operators in the United States now. Not all of them are active. The license lasts for 10 years, so there's sometimes a lag between licenses that expire, people get out of it, and whether and our new ones coming in. So but the activity on the band, particularly with this new solar cycle that we're in, radio communications are some days really exciting, and you can talk anywhere in the world. I've got a little vertical antenna, and I hit a guy in Western Russia the other day, and it's just, you just never know who you're going to make contact with. But as far as training for our local events, we have a local net, we have a weather net, or not a weather net, that's Wayne and Ron. We have a training net every week, and we get on, we sign in, we report conditions, we do a little chit chat, but actually it reinforces the experience of how to report data. We'll have a simulated emergency test 2 or 3 times a year where we go out and set up a portable station using non-electric. We'll use backup sources like solar generators, anything like that, and try and improve our communication skills. Once again, ARRL will provide web seminars. The National Hurricane Center is always available for training, and as a ham operator, you can volunteer to become a member of their broadcast team. You have to live there, and it's an arduous program, but it's very, very rewarding. They're there all during the hurricane, so it's a good source of information, and the amateur radio operators locally here will check into them as conditions provided. Okay, so when we are activated locally for a hurricane, we send our radio members to several different places in Martin County. The municipal centers we staff are the Martin County EOC on Monterey, the Stewart EOC over at the Stewart Police Station, Martin County Red Cross headquarters. We have a radio at Martin Memorial North and Martin Memorial South hospitals. We have a station at Jupiter Island Public Works and at the Indiantown Sheriff's Office. So we have the county pretty well blanketed. If communications go down or repeaters go down and it gets difficult to make a contact through a repeater, which actually strengthens your signal, then we have enough of a network around where we can usually get in touch with another station and relay messages. The Red Cross shelters for 2011, where this list was changed, and I've got a list of them back there on the back table. We have one special needs shelter, which this year is Anderson Middle School over on Cove Road. As the depending on the severity of the storm and the need for shelters, we will staff, as Red Cross opens the Phase 1 shelters, we'll staff those, and the first one is Jensen Beach High School, Port Salerno, Hidden Oaks, and Indian Middle. So we have, once again, we have the county fairly well covered as far as coordinates, so that somebody that has to go to a shelter can get the one that's fairly close to their location. If the need is worse, then we're prepared to staff Phase 2 shelters, which would be another one in Indiantown, would be Warfield, Seawind Elementary, Felix Williams, and once again we'll have radios at those stations. If the very worst, I don't know whether a tertiary opening has ever happened here, but if we did need it, it would be Citrus Grove in Ponce. Now, these are all fairly new schools built to the standards, hurricane standards that the state requires, so they are fairly safe. They are very safe, and we do staff them 24/7 during the times that we're requested to. Now, in order to become prolific at this communication, we have several events that we do. One of them is called Field Day. It's a nationwide practice session for amateur radio, where we set up portable communications, and then we try and make contact with other amateur radio operators all over the United States. It turns into a contest, but the primary function is for us to be able to take equipment, assemble it at a site, and be able to get onto the air in a very rapid sequence, so that if a situation arises, we can be there and transmitting and passing on information that we need to pass on. Some of the equipment that we get is loaned to us. The Forestry Service loaned us one of their rigs, which had a built-in generator. I believe that was a 60-foot tower, but Sanskrit would only let us raise it to the one level. We assembled the antenna, cranked the tower up, and made contacts all through the day and night. The contest runs from Saturday afternoon to Sunday, so we're talking on the radios 24 hours that day. It's a lot of fun. During the event, we like to invite the public in, and we also invite our county officials. And this year we had Vicki Davis, the supervisor of elections, stop by to see our Field Day presentation, and she was very impressed with our setup. We had 3 stations running, had 3 towers up, so we had quite an impressive display out there. Our other event that is for, once again, to try and get members to join our group and become ham operators, is the Hurricane Fair at the Treasure Coast Mall. That's usually the weekend after Memorial Day, right at the beginning of hurricane season. It's just a one-day event. Now, it used to be 2 days, but it's a one-day event. And we pass out information trying to attract members to become radio operators and show that we still are a very active hobby and necessary source. We're not only associated with Martin County. Our amateur radio operators, the event of the association is partnered with several different organizations that, as they need emergency communication or secondary communications as a backup source, we have an understanding of several groups.